With the NFL awards coming up in just a matter of mere weeks, the MVP race is getting tighter and tighter. I mean, it's between Matthew Stafford and Drake May, obviously two really elite quarterback candidates this year, both deserving of it, both, having immense years. If you are not on the Drake May MVP train, this is my video to you. This is my pitch to you guys on why I believe Drake May is MVP. Before we start, just a heads up, everything I'm referencing is from the NFL Plus subscription that I own. If you guys just want to go, check it out yourselves, that's fine. Everything I reference in this video is next-gen stats from that website coming straight from the NFL, and that's it. Starting this off, I want to take a look at Drake's average wide receiver separation yardage. He's bottom half in the league of that. And if you take a look at some of the guys in front of him, these are people that had worse years than him with higher separation yardage. And I believe this is a very important metric because this shows how tight of windows Drake has been throwing into all year. However, there are guys that have a better separation average that have done less, meaning that the guys ranked ahead of Drake that you see, their receivers were able to get more separation off the line of scrimmage, in the routes, down the field, whatever. Meaning that these guys had a bigger window to hit their receivers down the field than Drake did. And just overall had more separation from their receivers. And this is from every route that every receiver has ran for each team. So it accounts everybody. And I think that just really proves how good Drake accuracy-wise has been this year. He's been on another level. I know he leads the league in completion percentage with 72, which is amazing thing to do in your second year. So this is one of my biggest arguments when it comes to the Drake May MVP thing, because this kind of metric just shows you how insanely accurate Drake has had to been all year. My next argument is going to be Drake May's EPA this year. EPA, for you guys who do not know, I will put it up on the screen, is basically a quarterback's contribution to the offense and how well they move up and down the field. How often are they getting their team in positions to score, and just overall their total benefit to their offense as a whole. And if we take a look at this, Drake May is about 30, we'll call it 29, 30 points above the other potential MVP candidate, Matthew Stafford. And Matthew Stafford has more weapons than Drake May. Drake May has Kayshon Boutte, Demario Douglas, and I understand these guys have had amazing years. I'm a Patriots fan. They've had outstanding years, do not get me wrong. And obviously Steph Diggs, but they are not Puka Nacua. They are not Devontae Adams. Let's not sit here and pretend like Drake May's got an elite receiving core like Stafford. And let me clarify, this is not a diss on Stafford whatsoever. I love Matthew Stafford. He's an elite quarterback. This is just my personal take on the MVP debate. I'm a Patriots fan, so obviously I'm going to stick my foot in this door as I've watched every Patriots game this year. So this is not a diss on Stafford either. Stafford has done amazing this year. I just think Drake May has been more efficient than Matthew Stafford has with less. So I don't necessarily think Drake has been more efficient as a quarterback, but I think he's been more efficient with what the talent he has on his roster. And I just think that contributes to me personally a lot more in the MVP race than overall production. But Stafford's been on another level too. I mean, obviously, all of these metrics I will show you guys in this video for the most part. It's going to be Drake and Matt 1 and 2 for the most part. But if we look at this, Drake is damn near doubled and tripled the number 3, 4, and 5 spots. So it just shows how elite both of these guys have been all year. We have been so spoiled to watch both of these guys have these, Drake's breakout year, obviously, and Stafford's best year of his career. We have been spoiled with elite quarterback play this year. And these two are definitely the standalones, 100%. That's why they're the two favorites. But Drake tripling and almost quadrupling, all the guys below him just shows how efficient this guy has been. Now, similar to the last argument, this is going to be EPA per drop back, meaning how efficient was Drake on a down-to-down per basis. If we take a look at this, this is essentially saying that every time Drake May drop back, he was getting his team in positive plays and in keeping them in positive territory to, have chances to score, whether that's field goals, touchdowns, whatever the case may be. Drake was always keeping the Patriots in positive yardage, and he wasn't having them negative yardage plays. That's just per drop back basis. So, if we take a look at this metric now, as we can see, Matthew Stafford drops a little bit. Drake's still at the top for this, meaning he was the most efficient quarterback when it came to a yardage standpoint per drop back. Now, let me say that again. He was the most efficient quarterback from a yardage standpoint per drop back, keeping his team in scoring positions. Elite stuff. I never got the screenshot from my computer, but another thing I wanted to reference was Drake May has a turnover worthy play rate of 2.7, which is one of the lowest in the league. I believe it was the second lowest. Like I said, I forgot the screenshot. I'm referencing PFF if you guys want to go, fact check me on that one. If you don't believe me, that's fine. But Drake May had one of the lowest turnover worthy plays with the receiving core that he has is another very astonishing accomplishment to me because it shows that not only was he accurate, but he was smart with the football when he was needed to be. And you compare that with the EPA play that we just talked about. Drake was smart, efficient, and he was accurate with the football up and down the field all year long. Kind of piggybacking off of, the stuff we've been going over. Here's a look at the tight window throw percentage. Drake is below Matthew Stafford on this one, but like I've said, with the receiving core that Drake May has, and what he was able to do, how he's stacking up with a top caliber quarterback like this with a lesser depleted wide receiver core is very amazing. This is what I truly believe is valuable right here is these kind of things and these kind of accolades that you could, stack up with less to do. Kind of in a way that Josh Allen won the MVP last year with less when, Lamar Jackson had the better stats overall, yes, but Josh Allen was more overall valuable to that team. And I think these metrics help a lot of people understand how valuable quarterback play can be in this league. Now, for maybe the biggest argument that Drake May has against him is quote unquote. Now, I'm doing air quotes. You guys can't see me. I'm doing a voiceover. I'm doing air quotes. The schedule was easy. Okay, let's take a look at this. Okay, Matthew Stafford and Drake May both played the Carolina Panthers. In that game that Matthew Stafford played, he had one of his worst statistical years against them in, his entire season, throwing 3 interceptions and only 2 touchdowns. Drake May, on the other hand, had one of his best statistical games against this team, and it was the exact same defense, just in later weeks. Patriots played the Falcons, Rams played the Falcons. Falcons were the number 1 ranked passing defense and number 3 in rushing and number 5 in total pressure rate. Matthew Stafford lost to the Falcons. Drake May beat the Falcons. Steelers have a 12th overall ranked defense. Yes, they ended up beating the Patriots, but Drake May still lit up the stat sheet. My point is, it doesn't matter that they played lesser opponents offensively because they have. The Jets are way, way lesser of an opponent offensively. Steelers, way lesser of an opponent offensively. However, Drake still played top caliber defenses. Myles Garrett had 5 sacks against this man. The Browns have a Super Bowl caliber defense, and Drake May torched them. I do not want to hear anything about a schedule argument when the Bills share 14, or I believe it's even higher, percentage of shared opponents with New England. And how come they couldn't win the division with the same shared opponents? I think this schedule argument is the dumbest thing to ever exist to me because every team in the NFL, no matter if it's the worst team in the league, is elite at some level at something. So the schedule argument for me has never made sense. It was never brought up when Lamar Jackson won MVP in 2023. It was never brought up when some of these other MVPs had lesser schedules. And I don't understand why it's being brought up now. I'm not even saying this as a Patriots fan. I'm saying this from a pure football fan. It doesn't make sense to me. You want to talk about schedules? 2018, Patrick Mahomes had one of the easiest schedules for an MVP ever. Nobody ever brought that up once in an argument. I don't understand why it's such a problem now with Drake May. He still played elite defenses all throughout the year. Did he play bad defenses also? Absolutely. But my point being, when he played the good defenses, he still kept his consistency overall as the quarterback, which is something that Matthew Stafford cannot say. Hopefully, for some of you guys that were on the fence about Drake May being the MVP, I was able to persuade you a little bit in this. This was really fun to make. I'm very passionate about football. I love football. I love everything about it. This kind of argument I love. Both guys are super deserving of it, and if Matthew wins, it's well deserved. This was just my, little video essay on why I believe Drake should win MVP. If you guys were on the fence and, thought maybe Stafford should win it and you watched this video and I convinced you otherwise, then my job was complete. And I hope I did that for some of you. I just believe that Drake had a super one of a kind year. And especially to do what he did in his second year only was amazing to see. He did more with less. And I just think, to me, that's more valuable as an NFL fan. If you are able to carry your team to these sorts of wins, like you do consistently, like Josh Allen does, to me, that's the most valuable thing on this sport. It's a team sport overall, At the end of the day, everybody needs a little bit amount of help. We've seen what happened to Justin Herbert because of his offensive line. Everybody needs help. But I hope I convinced you guys that Drake's MVP. If I did, leave a like, share the video to your grandma. Maybe she thinks Stafford's the MVP. I don't know.